Welcome back to Vitoucher's Guide to Retouching. My name is Vartan and this is part 3 of episode 1. In case you missed part 1 and part 2, the links are down in the description below. A quick recap: in part 1 we used a combination of the spot healing brush and clone stamp tool to clean the image on 3 different layers: the background, subject, and hair. In part 2 of the tutorial we tackled frequency separation and fine-tuned the areas in the background we couldn't hit with the healing tools and dived deeper in smoothing the skin. Now we are in the final phase to bring this image to a close by color correcting some of the reddish pinkish areas on the skin and hit the entire image with dodging and burning, my favorite. We may need to visit frequency separation from time to time in case we find something we missed, which is to be expected and why working non-destructively is important. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and like this video. Now, let's begin. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to first and foremost color correct any areas that need to be color corrected. For the most part, what happens is on the hands, specifically in shadow areas like here, over here, and a lot basically on the tips of the fingers, the skin tends to turn a little pinkish red, and also like on the toes and the bottom of the feet as well, and then along with some of the shadow areas. So just a quick fix to this: you go to your layer adjustments, select hue and saturation, zoom in on an area that you are going to color correct. And what you want to do is you want to click on this hand modifying saturation button that has the pinpoints, so the sliders indicator left and right. Click on that and this will give you the eye drop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find an area that we want and select the color of the area that we want to color correct. So in this case I'm going to do it like basically right around here, trying to get that redness, and then I'm going to zoom out. Now that while we sample that, it changed our color mode to color channel to red. So we're going to bump up the saturation all the way, and we're going to bump up the hue to the right all the way. Now what we're going to do is we want to only select the color area, the color area that we sampled. That's all we want. And in order to do that, we use these sliders down over here. So what you can do is you can expand this a little bit to give you some more room on the sliders, and typically move one area closer to the other and see what happens. So this is basically taking out the background. It's moving a little too slow, so I don't need that. So I'm going to move that to the side, and I'm going to bring this down. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is, with basically back to the original state of the image, I'm going to start moving the slider to the right until pretty much the areas that I want color corrected are visibly highlighted with that bluish color. So I'm going to keep going, like see, like right there. Now the fingers are highlighted, and because we selected that area, anything in that color is pretty much going to get selected for us already. So you can see inside the palm on the left hand, outside on the right hand, especially with where the fingers are, a little bit of the shadow area, the toes, and the back of the heel. The lips are always going to be selected. We're just going to mask them out. But keep that in mind. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make this even, we're going to finesse it even more. So we're going to grab the inner right slide and just bring it ever so slightly to the right to just give it a little bit more boost. Right about there. Now we can drop our hue down to 0, which was default, and our saturation back to regular 0. Alright, so now this is the regular color for the image that we've been working on. And what we want to do is we just want to grab the hue slider and move it a little to the right. I would say about 3 or 4 clicks. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, we went 5. That's okay. Now what I like to do is I like to turn it on and off and see where we are. And I think we got to move a little more. Yeah. So keep in mind, anytime you leave your properties, I have my layers, channels, and properties set in the same window. But if you have it on the separate windows, you're fine. But anytime you leave the properties, it's gonna go back to the master color channel. So we just want to make sure that we go back to the color channel we need. So as you can see, there's 2 magentas here. So basically what we sampled was a magenta, and the way you would know which one is the correct one, if for some reason you can't find it. So magenta 2 is basically the standard magenta. As you can see, none of the sliders have moved. And if I go to the regular magenta, there's our +5. So I'm going to move this a little more. Let's see. There we go. For a second I thought I wasn't doing anything. Alright, so we keep going until we kind of get a more realistic skin tone. Oh, wow, this bumped up a lot. Never really had it go up that high. There we go. Now the red tones are gone. Looks like it's still a little red on the palm here. Yeah. So what we can do now is we can do one more. Oh, wrong adjustment. Okay, hue and saturation. And let's pick up the reds. There we go. Okay, now we picked up the reds. So prior to that, we picked up the magentas. Okay. So the same thing here. My target is the left palm. So I'm going to bring this down. All right, now I'm going to move it up to get that palm highlighted. And then I'm going to move this guy there. Let's see what happens if we move this slider. Nothing really happens. All right, so now we're good. Move this to 0, 0. And then bump this up. Let's see what that does. There we go. We got about here. And I did realize after finishing the frequency separation that I didn't really hit that hand. So we're gonna have to take care of that. Okay. So now, don't have the brightness. I'm gonna invert these masks, because remember the lips and certain areas that we don't want got color changed as well. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to paint over the area we want, which are the fingers, right? So I'm using let's go 50% opacity brush. Yep, there we go. And I'm just going to paint over the hand, and then go down here, paint over the toes. So this image doesn't need too much color correcting. The photographer, for the most part, did a pretty good job on color grading, but there will be times where we need to, as retouchers, hit certain areas because they do an overall color grade. Not very often where they do a complete like spot areas. So but that's fine. That's where we come in handy. You know, job security. So yeah, so didn't need too much color grading. There are times where even after color correcting, there are times where after color grading the raws, certain areas on the skin, when they are, depending on how they are, the setting is, the lights are situated, certain areas of the skin can kind of, the areas that are far from the camera, so like basically the areas where it, like on the, for example, the ankle, like how it curves out, so like obviously this is going to be the furthest area of from the camera. Those areas can tend to turn kind of grayish that I would recommend keeping an eye out for. But in this case, our color looks pretty decent. We don't necessarily really need to mess with it too much. We already fixed the areas we wanted to and had to fix. But other than that, this color correcting was pretty simple. Like I said, most of the time when the photographers, when they process out their raws, they will pretty much color grade them on the color that they want. And that's what we want to do, is we want to work with that color grading. We don't want to change the color grading unless specifically we're told so, or given basically the freedom to, the creative freedom. All right, so with the color grading pretty much complete, what we're going to do, actually, hold on a second. Let's see. The shadow in the forehead's turning a little red. Let's hit that real quick. So I switched over to 30% opacity because I'm getting to the area where I'm meeting her hair, and because she has red hair, I don't want to remove any of that hue from the hair, obviously. Don't want to give her gray hairs or desaturated hairs. Alright, there we go. Okay, so now we're good. And now we can start with our dodging and burning process. So I use levels for dodging and burning. I have found that that's pretty much my go-to, and it's the one that I'm comfortable with, and it works. Never had an issue with it, and honestly, the way it works is just sometimes I'm even surprised. So what you have to do is, well, let's group these two, and then we can name this color correcting, just so we get a little organized with our layers. Okay, so we're going to create a levels layer, and what we want to do is we want to bump up all the way pretty much till it's blown out right there, and then we're going to invert this mask, and we're going to name this dodge. Then we're going to create another levels layer, and we're going to bump this up all the way to the right. And we're going to name this burn, and invert that mask as well. We're going to group this, and we're going to call it DNB. And now we're going to group it one more time. And we're going to name this dodge and burn. Now, a little trick that I'm not sure if I came up with this or not, but I didn't watch any videos, I didn't take it from anybody, but as I got into dodging and burning, I realized at times where I couldn't see based off of because there were so many colors happening, so many brights and dark and shadows, that it was hard for me to see the blemishes just the way it was, but I knew they were there. So what I realized was, if I convert the image to black and white, it opens up the contrast between the darks and the brights. So first step we're going to do is we're going to create a black and white adjustment layer. Now, one more thing we're going to do is we're going to add a curves layer. And this curves layer we're going to play with as we dodge and burn. So we can make it darker to really bring out the really dark spots and separate it from the mediums, right? So like I can see, like right here, the forehead, there's an area right there. So many areas on the foot, and so many on the hand. There's blotches on the forearm that we can't necessarily see too much when it's not in this phase with the black and white, and also with the curves. And then also we can move it the other way, and this really brings out the the separation between the brights and the darks. And this we're gonna group, and we're gonna name this DNB Assist. All right, so this one we're pretty much gonna be only adjusting the curves and then turning it off to see where we're at. And with that said, the way we're gonna do this is you use the brush tool, soft, your softest possible brush, so at 0%, and then your percentages for opacity and flow. I found out that 5% and opacity and 5% flow is where I start. It's kind of the sweet spot. If I hit areas where it's really dark, or if I need to kind of speed up my process, I'll bump it up to 10 and 10. Or sometimes if I feel like it's a little dark, it's a little too dark but not as dark where I need 10 10, then I'll just do 5 and 10. But basically 5 is pretty much 5% opacity, 5% flow is the sweet spot. 5 10 10 10 is also great. You just want to be careful with the 10 10, because then you really do see the dodge or the burn when you're painting, and you don't necessarily want to see that. You want to see it subtly. You want to see a subtle, gradual change to your shadows and your highlights. In intense cases, you can go 20 and 20. I've done that a few times, but that's like, I don't want to say that's kind of desperation times, but I mean, hey, we got to do stuff to make it work, right? All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to start with bringing the curves layer down a little bit to bump up my darks. And a lot of times people typically dodge more than they burn. Not sure why. I guess just making it lighter seems more natural, but you really have to pick and choose and make the judgment call. But essentially what we're doing is we are pretty much blending. So wherever we're just like how with the clone tool and the healing brush, the spot healing brush, we're basically looking for any breaks in the skin, right? So where you see, what is happening here? What is this box on my screen? Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. Oh, there it's back. There we go. All right. So basically, wherever we see a break on the skin, that's what we want to smooth out and match to the outside majority of the coloring and the brightness and darkness on the outside of that break. So it might be a dark area where it is broken with a highlight, and we got to get rid of that highlight. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're gonna start with 5 and 5, and remember 0 5 on the numbers, and shift 0 5 changes the flow. So just the 0 5 is opacity, and shift 0 5 is the flow. All right, so I'm gonna start with the forehead, and all I'm basically gonna do is with the white, obviously, fill, and I'm just gonna start painting over these dark breaks. And you don't want to see, so you don't want to see that we don't want to see. You pretty much don't want to see the change happening, because when you don't see the change happening is when you know the blending is being done correctly, as ironic as that might sound. But because we want as subtle as possible, so that way we have less area, or more area of error, more room for error. Definitely want more room for error, not less room for error. And then I'm gonna go back and forth between the dodge and the burn. and pretty much just painting in. So if you've never dodged and burned before, in the beginning, it is a very time consuming process. At first I would do what normally, like what a lot of people do, which is pretty much 1% opacity, 1% flow. And I tried that and I realized, like, yo, it's taking me like an hour to do like a square inch area. I'm like, there's no way, like I don't have this much time to work on images, unfortunately. I wish I had more time, but I don't have that much time. So I try to limit myself to, like, pretty much when it comes to retouching, full retouches, to like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours max, depending on the on what the project is. However, so that's when I was like, okay, there's no way, I need to play, right? So you got to think outside the box. So I played with it. I think I bumped it up to 20. I was like, okay, no, this is too much. And then after trial and error, I realized, okay, 5% works. And then there are times where I'm like, all right, this part's taking a little too much time to make a change. So then I'll bump up the flow. And if it's still taking too much time, then I'll bump up the opacity. And at that point, it's pretty much there. So now if I turn off the dodge and burn level adjustments, look at that, right? Boom. Look at that. Clean. That's what I'm talking about. Now, the beauty, and this is what I love about dodging and burning. It does not, I repeat, it does not take away texture. None of it. It keeps your texture. It keeps your skin. It keeps what is there. Wait till we get to the close. It does not do anything but what you want it to do. I don't know what these boxes are. It's amazing. And once you really get the hang of it, trust me, if you've never dodged and burned before and you're just thinking about dodging and burning, you're gonna hate it at first. But trust me, use the 5-5, 5-10, 10-10 method, and I'm telling you, once you see what you can do with it, literally it's limitless. Like, you can full on retouch a whole photo, a whole image, without using frequency separation, all just by dodging and burning. Now, given you do need to clean the image like we did in the healing process, but you can pretty much, if you have the time and the patience, you can create a masterpiece by just dodging and burning. That's just how powerful it is, especially when you know how to use it, when you use it. It's insane. Like, it's unbelievable. Sometimes I feel like it's a cheat code. And surprisingly, not a lot of people use it. A lot of people are intimidated by it. And a lot of times it's because most of the time people don't want to get out of the box. Like, you got to take what I'm saying as a grain of salt. So I'm not obviously sitting here expecting you guys to, whoever's watching this video, if I'm going to be getting any views, I'm not expecting you to literally do every single thing the way I do. You might be asking yourself, why is he doing it this way? That's so much longer. But that's the beauty of it, right? Everybody does it their way. They come to essentially to the correct answer, but taking a different route. However, the whole purpose of this is to basically take a technique, take something, and implement it into your own work, modify it your own way. I mean, I didn't make any of this up. This isn't something that I came out of, you know, like that I just thought of, like, oh, I'm the first one to do this. Obviously not, especially dodging and burning. I mean, a lot of this stuff that we're doing on Photoshop, people kind of forget that this stuff was manually done in dark rooms. That's where these icons come from. Where is it? Like the dodge and burn icon? That's where it comes from. This is a dodge tool. It blocks the light. The burn tool, it you know, You block the certain light, and I mean, sorry, the dodge tool adds light, and the burn, you block certain areas, and you burn. That's where those come from. It comes from the actual the dark room. And I'm actually proud to say, so I'm a little old now, but I'm proud to say I've been in the dark room before and I've processed my own photos. If you haven't done it, do it while they're still out there. That's pretty cool. Bam. These were all pretty much, obviously not to this extent, but this stuff was done with film cameras. Processing film. They would dodge, they would burn, they would clone. Pretty crazy. Alright, so obviously occasionally we do want to go turn off our layer and go back and see where we're at. I can tell you right now that this eye area is getting a little too polished. So we're going to have to bring some of that back eventually, but right now we're just going to continue where we're going. And it's always okay to go overboard, but know when you're going overboard so you can start bringing it back, because we do not want to go overly polished. Like, we don't want to take away this photo already has a lot of grain in it, so we got to preserve as much detail as possible. Now, just to look at that, it's beautiful. God, I love dodging and burning. The other thing that's cool about it and why I like it, it's kind of like Zen. Like, you're just literally, all you're looking at are dark spots and bright spots and just bringing them to a happy medium where one's not screaming louder than the other, and it's kind of like therapy. Alright, I think we're pretty good with the face. Yes, I know what it is. I think it's the eyes. The left eye is a little too dark. We'll get back to that. Okay, now let's hit the neck. Okay. And again, we're looking for breaks, and we want to take those breaks out. Not necessarily out again. Blending them. Blend it in. Blend. Turn off the assist and see where we're at. Beautiful. Okay. And yes, most of the time you're going to be using the dodge, but don't be scared to use. Don't be scared to burn, not use. Don't be right now burning. And just like with the painting and the frequency separation, I like to increase and decrease the size of my brush so that way my the brush strokes, the painting, is not visible. It kind of basically limits your digital footprint, and that's one thing we don't want. We don't want any indication that we've been here. We don't want to do that, because if we do that, then we failed. So yeah, so I'll make the brush bigger, smaller, and at this point, nothing strategic as far as the size, unless I get to like a bigger area, obviously. But I'll just, you know, randomly just start, you know, going smaller, and then going bigger, and then going smaller after like 2 or 3 strokes. Alright. Let's move this up because we're getting into shadow areas and see if there's any breaks, and there kind of is. Right by the tummy. They're very subtle, but they're there. And this is something you're going to train your eye. The more you do it, the more you're going to start seeing these things. It's kind of a gift and a curse at the same time. But you're going to see things that other people are not necessarily going to see, which is a good thing, because then you know what to tackle, what to do. I mean, it's been how long has it been already? I don't have a timer. I don't know what time I started, but I mean, we're almost like halfway through, if not more. Yeah, we're more, because all we have left is the 2 hands, the arm, and the foot. Now, obviously, if this was a, you know, like bikini shot, then a lot more skin. Okay. In and out, in and out. Yeah, that eye is dark. That's why it's like that. Okay. Look at that. It's looking great. Alright, let's move on to this left foot, left leg. Only because it's a small area. Knock it out quick. Doesn't look like there's a lot anyway. And save. Always remember to save. I've had Photoshop crash on me so many times in the middle of big projects where hours on hours on end working on it, and even though autosave is enabled, there are times where you just lose it and there's really nothing we can do about it. So always try to remember to save. I forget. But right there, it was kind of slowing down, so I was like, oh, let me hit that Command S button before anything happens, so just to be on the safe side. I'm also zoomed out more. Rather than being like this, I can't really tell too much, right? Whereas this way, when the pixels are condensed, when the pixels are really condensed, then you get to really see the darks and the lights. So that's why I do most of my retouching zoomed out rather than really zoomed in, unless obviously it's a portrait image where it's like a headshot with for example, like a Hasselblad or something, where literally every pore and detail is just right there in your face. Ever try retouching one of those images? Yeah. That's when you spend hours on. Those are fun though. Alright. Yep, that looks good. Looks clean. Beautiful. Alright, let's move on to this hand. So hands are a little tricky, right? Because it's got bones and bones and bones, knuckles, wrists, joints. It has so much going on where you want to remove it all, but then bring it back. You don't want it there, but you want it there, if that makes any sense. So we don't want it to look like you don't have a wrist, but at the same time, you also don't want it to look bumpy and, you know, like an off-road trail. We don't want that. So you just gotta work with it and see where we go, where we think is the happy area. And, you know, if we push the limit a little too much, it's okay, right? Why? Because we're working non-destructively, so we can always revert back. While we're on that topic, just a really quick tip. So let's say we go a little too far, right? Well, I personally do not like to then go into, for example, my dodge or my burn layer and start masking it out. I don't like doing that because where I've already gone, I want to keep it there. But I would, again, it's the non-destructive mindset of mine. What I will do is on the DNB folder, I will create a mask there, and then I will start to then try to find the happy area here. Because the problem is that I might not like what I did, right? I might have been like, you know what? No, the original was actually better. What I had was originally better, but now if I masked over, if I masked out my dodge or my burn, then it's gone. I can't get back to that, right? I can't get back to what I originally had. So that's a little trick where you can pretty much within the folder mask out the folder. So just a little detour trick right there. All right, back to regular programming. There it is. There we go. Now we get to see it all. Woo! Look at that. A dodge and burner's dream come true. You know when they say like people with big veins when they go to the doctor, like it's the nurses, or go to the hospital to IV, it's like nurse's dream come true or nurse's wet dream. Yeah, this is pretty much a retoucher's dream come true right here. Just doctor, it's like Dr. Pimple Popper. Satisfying. And that is why you have that DNB Assist. It's a game changer. And I can tell you that one, I did think of myself. I didn't. And I don't know if anybody uses it or not. But I haven't seen anyone do that before yet. I still haven't seen it. And I've watched tutorials. I'm constantly watching tutorials. I'm constantly jumping from channel to channel because I really want to see what people are doing. I want to see how I can better my workflow and my technique, and see, and essentially be like, oh, you do it, oh, that's a great idea, let me make it better. Pretty much. I mean, look, this whole dodging and burning technique, 1%, 2%, great idea, but the execution was taking too long. So what did I do? 5%, 5%. And then added a DNB Assist. Who knows where we'll be in 3 months? I might just be typing in words and Photoshop will do it for me. It's already doing that. Generative AI. It is pretty impressive, I must say. It's impressive when it does what you want it to do. Now, when it doesn't do what you want it to do, that's when you're like, what in the world? Damn it, Bobby. Alright, so the knuckles, we're gonna just brighten them up a little bit. A little too dark. We're not gonna blend this in with the rest of the skin. I'm just gonna give it a tad bit of light. And obviously, in the DNB Assist portion, everything is very exaggerated, right? Because all we're seeing are blacks and whites and grays. So the shadows are respectively darker, and the highlights are brighter. It's just how it works. Alright, so let's do a quick before and after. Alright. Now, we did remove a lot of the details, so we're going to bring it back. But this is where we want it to go, so now I'm going to be using that whole masking of the folder instead of on the actual dodge and burn layers, and I want to bring this wrist back. So I'm gonna slowly bring it in. There we go, like that, and then just go a little over the top of the hand to bring back some more detail. There we go. I brought it in a little too much. Where are we at? Okay, let's go 10 and 50. There it is. Alright. Boom. Beautiful. Alright. So, that hand's done for now. We always come across things. So, until we're completely finished, we're not finished. I'm going to move on to the foot now. Foot, I'm going to go 10-10. So 10% opacity, 10% flow. And I feel like for the most part this one I'm going to be dodging. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there is kind of a trend. At least the way I retouch, and it's lines. The healing brush, lines. Dodging and burning. Oop, too much. Let's go 5-10. Dodging and burning, lines. So I'm just realizing that. Now, also, I know I'm using levels for the dodging and burning. You can also use curves, whatever you're comfortable with. For some reason, I've always been comfortable with levels. Curves, for some reason, have always been a little intense for me for some reason. I don't know why. But I've always been comfortable with levels, so that's why I use levels. For the assist, it's just easier to drag the curve than it is to, I guess, keep moving for visual aesthetic wise, than it is to slide the sliders on the levels. But I prefer levels. It works for me. But if you do use curves, basically, or if you're more comfortable with curves, then you'll pretty much do the same thing, right? Move for the dodge, move your curve to the bright side, and then for burn, move it to the dark side. Alright, let's turn this off and see where we're at. The ankle is looking big. Alright. It's looking good though. We do need to soften this up. There's too much going on there. Okay, that's too much. So let's drop the flow down to 5. Let's even the skin tone even more. And then work on possibly reconstructing that ankle. It's amazing what you can see in a still image. You know, depending on the angle of the camera, lighting is the most important spot, right? Most important area. And essentially, actually, with dodging and burning, that's pretty much what we're doing is we're bending light. So that's essentially what we're pretty much doing is we're creating light, we're adding and subtracting light as we want, and making it look flawless. Now, with that said, because it's a still image, shadows can cause illusions, and highlights can cause illusions, and it'll make things look different than they actually are. So it's one thing you got to look out for when you're retouching. Is that really how it is, or is it the light? So, and obviously there's only so much the photographer can do in camera, so that's where we come in handy. And also, depending on the style of shoot, depending on, you know, the model, I mean, you're probably getting like 1,000 shots. And that means the model's moving around, you know, and you're trying to find your perfect select within there. So there's going to be obviously hair all over the place on one of them. There's going to be, you know, the clothing's probably going to be crazy on one, the jacket's flying on one side. You know, so these are all things to account for. So, all right. Okay, so do a quick before and after from the raw to the retouched image, and that's a big difference. Alright, I'm gonna come back to that foot. What I do want, oh, let's do the arm. So yesterday I was kind of reorganizing my setup, which I've been doing for the last like 3 months, on where my Mac is and all that, placement on the desk and everything. And ultimately I ended up putting it right. Didn't want to put it, which is pretty much in front of me under the monitor, but that seemed like it was the best place and cleanest spot to put it. However, in the middle of the retouching, my screens go black. The Mac didn't shut off, but the screens went black, and I was getting no signal. Now I'm running a Mac Mini, but I do have an external GPU, and my genius self, what I did was I placed my external hard drive next to the GPU, which is fine, it's okay, but it's not okay when you're blocking the intake. So the fan is spinning, but there's no air coming in. So I think I overheated the GPU and it just shut off, and it freaked me out because I thought I burned my GPU like indefinitely. So then I turn everything off. I have a little desk fan, and I just put it on full blast, and with the GPU off, even the Mac off, and just pretty much aim the fan to the intake fan on the GPU for a good like 30 minutes, and then I tried to start it and it didn't work. I was freaking out. After about an hour and a half, it came back, and it's been good, but except I'm seeing those little glitches of boxes and stuff around, and hopefully it's just a little phase and it'll go away. But yeah, moral of the story, don't block intakes. Any intakes, whether it's your car, your GPU, any exhaust intakes. Don't block anything. Look at the power of dodging and burning. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? God, I love this. Like, I genuinely love dodging and burning. The satisfaction you get when you remove, let's say, a wrinkle on a apparel or a product with just dodging and burning, and just realizing how literally light is just an illusion. in photos. Like it's what makes it or breaks it in a photo, right? It's lighting. And the fact that you can literally unwrinkle a wrinkled, you know, bend on a shoe by just dodging it out is just amazing. Alright, we're getting there. Okay, so I need to soften the wrinkle on her in her palm. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna use our green. Let's go 10%. Opacity 50 flow. Not sure if I explained, I can't remember what the opacity and flow means. But to put it in a perspective, I guess a lot of people can kind of vision. I'm more of a visual person, so I like to vision things that will make sense. It'll make more sense to me. So think of a garden hose and think of the end that the water comes out of. That's open, right? And now think of turning the nozzle on the water to start on full blast. On full blast, you're at 100% opacity and 100% flow, right? You're getting 100% pressure and you're getting 100% flow from that water. You can't get anything more. That's it. Now, imagine you turn a nozzle where you're at 10% opacity, meaning 10% pressure on the water, right? But your nozzle is still open, so you're still technically getting 100% flow, but you're just getting 10% pressure. And now imagine you cover, let's say, half of that nozzle with your thumb. Now you're getting 10% flow, 10% pressure with 50% flow, right? Because you're blocking the flow. So that's pretty much what it comes down to. So 5% and opacity, 5% flow is I'm getting 5% of the pressure, right? And bringing the flow down to 5%, I'm getting 5% of the flow of what comes out. So I hope that made sense. I think I had something there. Might have lost you guys. I think I lost myself, but you get it. Those of you who've messed around with a garden hose, you get it. Let's go 10 and 10. So right now, because there is a lot of contrast in this area, like there's a lot of darks and lights, I'm not really using the assist at the moment because I don't really need to. But once I get it to an area where now it's a little hard to visualize it, that's when I'll turn it on to like kind of go on to overdrive. But for now, we are pretty good. I did remove more than I wanted to, which is okay because we're going to bring it back. But now I feel like that looks better. I think I'm going to liquefy that thumb. Something's not right there. Or maybe I'm just overthinking. But this just does not seem like a natural kind of And this is the everyday battle as a retoucher. Sometimes you get tunnel vision and everything just starts looking unnatural. But that, yeah, that area just does not look... What is it? I think it's this highlight right here. Let's try to soften that. Oh, there's our glitch again. Which reminds me, let's save. Do not want to lose any of this. Now, this is causing a little bit of color discoloration. So I'm gonna have to paint over it to bring some of the color back. But now, as you can see, we're getting a little our dodges are, because it's a heavy shadow area, our dodges are getting a little discolorated. So we're gonna have to paint in some color there, but at the moment we're good. Again, it's gonna look bad before it looks good, so. Open up this crease here. Okay. Alright, now to add color to this, what we're going to do is we're going to go to solid color in your layer adjustments. Just hit OK, doesn't matter at the color right now because we're going to turn this off. And then now what we're going to do is double click on the color picker, your solid color square here, and then click on an area that we need, that we would want the color to be. So there. Change, oh, we gotta turn this on. Change the blend mode to color, so this way it basically overrides with color, and invert the mask by hitting Command I, not Command O, and then again light opacity, or really light opacity, and 50 flow, so 10, 50. I'm gonna start painting in those areas that got discolored from the dodging and burning. We might need to do multiple layers on this one. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this off, turn on my assist, because I feel like now I'll be able to see. Yeah, there it is. Let's see, maybe if we burn those areas. Yeah, looking better. And then turn this on. Yep. Alright. That looks better. And I'm not gonna think about that hand because I think it's just me. I think I'm just overthinking it, which happens quite often in this field. However, this is pretty red compared to everything else. That's weird. Why is it doing that? Huh, interesting. Alright, looks like we gotta add another hue set. And hit this area. Bump it, bump it. Let's bring this down. Right there. Saturation down a little bit. Brightness up. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. Let's lightly paint it in. There we go. Oh yeah, much better. Let's bring a little bit back, just so we're not getting... There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. So that's that. The clothing. I'm gonna turn this off right now because the color layer is over the dodging and burning. You can see that color, but it throws me off, so I'm just gonna turn it off for now. And I'll turn it back on when I'm done with the dodging and burning. Alright, so 5% flow, 5% opacity, and the clothing, we didn't really take care of it with frequency and separation, but we're just gonna do a quick hit on the areas we weren't able to really iron out. And this is the beauty of dodging and burning. I am literally not messing with the texture whatsoever. 10% is a little too high though. Once I zoom in, take the assist off, you're gonna see texture's all there, color's all there. The only thing that's not there are the wrinkles. What we don't want, we take away. What we want to keep, we keep. So yeah, if you haven't dodged and burned and you've been thinking about it, or you don't know what it is, or you know, don't know where to start, here you go, man. Like I'm telling you, this is a game changer. Once I really got into understanding how dodging and burning works, or at least in this method, it's been limitless. Like literally, I'm not exaggerating. Like, you know, do anything you want. That's pretty crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? There's a crease there. Not anymore. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. Like, are you guys seeing this? That crease does not exist. It was never there. I don't know what you guys are talking about. There was never a crease there. And this is the not having a footprint. No one's ever gonna know. How are they gonna know? No one's gonna know. And in the event, if you do kind of go overboard and you don't catch it, it's just gonna look like a highlight or a shadow. Unless it's like... Unless it's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, like, I live and breathe dodging and burning when it comes to retouching. That's my bread and butter. Take away whatever tool you want. Give me my brush and give me my levels. That's all I need. Now that I look at this, now that I'm actually like concentrating on the apparel, I'm debating if I should take these wrinkles out right here. I think we should, because looking at everything else, I don't see wrinkles like that, and I get it. This is more of it's a very kind of tense area. Everything else is pretty relaxed except for this leg, obviously. But yeah, we're gonna remove that. Let's do this. So I'm gonna go to frequency separation, and I'm gonna try something. Well, let's turn off our color so that it does not mix. Dodge and burn, that's fine. No, actually, let's take that out too for now. Okay, so let's see. This should technically work. Yeah, at least that will work, and then I can fix whatever else with dodging and burning, but this is doing exactly what I want it to do. Amazing. So I'm using the spot healing brush. And okay, if anybody's caught it, in the first part of this video, the healing and cloning, I kept saying healing brush, healing brush. And I realized after the fact that I was stating the wrong tool. It's actually a spot healing brush, but this is, I mean, I've been doing this retouching for the last, I would say, 10 years. However, I've been working with Photoshop for the last 2 decades, at least 25 years. So, and all that 25 years, I've never had to sit there and explain what I'm doing. So it's a little out of my comfort zone. So if I forget common things like plaster on the wall that I couldn't also figure out in the first episode, yeah, it's gonna happen. Alright, now with the creases out, look at that. Wow. We're going to, at least the tones and the shadows. Now we're going to take the creasing out using current and below and 100, 100. And let's go. Look at that. So amazing. I love my job. Alright. What is happening here though? Why is it not? Oh, opacity dropped to 9. Damn it, Bobby! That one we're gonna keep, but that we're gonna remove. That we're gonna remove. This guy we're gonna remove. So gotta be careful here because I want to keep this line going. There we go. Wow. Boom. Boom. Just a few more left. Ooh, let's try the spot healing brush. Okay. Alright. I see what you did. Okay. I'm losing it there. Oop. I want the stamp tool. Oh, too close. Alright. Let's see. Yes. Yes. Oh, so much better. Alright, let's get the ones removed from the thigh. Or the hamstring. It's the hamstring, right? The hammy's on top, quad's on the bottom, yeah. Don't want to duplicate here, so I'm gonna create my own pattern. Yes. Beautiful. Alright. The rest we're going to fix with dodging and burning now. Let's go there. Let's go 5%, 5%. Let's save. Have a drink of water while it saves. Alright, now let's clean up these creases even more. Amazing. I might actually remove that big crease now that I'm seeing. Yeah, I might actually remove that. Alright, but let's finish this area first and then we'll move on. Yeah, so I can actually see what I'm doing. Wow. And let's zoom in and look at that. Texture's all there. Okay, this area is a little gray. What is happening? Yeah, okay. So that's alright. We're gonna add a color fill real quick and fix it. Okay. That color, yep, and invert to 100. Boom. We are good. All right, that's handled. Do we want to remove? Yeah, we want to remove that crease. We do. Let's go. Let's remove this crease. Let's see. We go about doing this one. I think we're gonna have to paint it. But let's try healing, spot healing first and see what it does. Huh. Okay. All right. That's working. See? Oh my god. Dude. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. And the texture's there. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Okay. Alright. Amazing. And I do need to bring some of that highlight here because now it's getting a little muddy on this end. Like that. There we go. Bring it like, make it look like it's curved in here. Like that. Yes. Look at that. Before and after. That doesn't even have the dodge and burn yet on it. Amazing. That dodge and burn life. Look at that. Yep. Yep. Oops. All right. I'm seeing something on the chair. Mm-hmm. It's almost approaching the time to fix that wall, and I have been thinking about how to fix it because the top area is getting a little too blurry. It's getting a little weird, like muggy. I think I'm gonna be using generative fill in this one too, and see what it does. I'm curious. There you go. All right. Let's work on the wall. Specifically this area down here. That's too dark. Let's go like that. And let's hit this guy. A little brighter on the bricks. A little darker in the mortar. All right. Let's try this. So let's go all the way up here. Let's do that. And where's my contextual text bar? That sounds wrong. White brick wall. Let's see what it does. Oh god. Let's try it some more. The third one's not bad. I can maybe use it. Okay. Alright, that was not bad. Okay, see what it did here. Ooh. Ooh. Might be able to use this one. See something. Yeah. Can we do this? What's gonna happen if I do? Yes. Yes. Okay. Alright. So, let's go. Let me see something. Let's do this. Get an idea of how big the bricks should be. About there. So to drag these horizontal placement lines, just go to the ruler, click, drag down. You can do it vertically as well. Go to the ruler, click, drag down. To get rid of it, you can either drag it out towards the ruler or select and delete. Just using it as a guideline right now to see if I can make this AI generated brick wall work to our benefit. Okay. Turn that on. It's looking a little blurry, obviously. Let's turn this into a group because I want to mask it. Perfect. Alright, it's not bad. There it is. It's the lighting. That's what it is. And the perspective as well has to be fixed. So right now I'm literally just playing around to see where I think there. Alright, now here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to use the AI and the existing brick wall. So I basically grouped the group so I can mask it even more now, and then inverted the mask so I can bring it in to work with the wall I have. And let's see if that's something we can do. Oh my god, I think we have something going here. That actually doesn't look half bad. I mean, if you look at the original, it basically fades away, right? Yeah. Now, I can get rid of the... what do you call this? I don't know what you call that, but there we go. And the other thing is... yeah, and a dodge out. Oh. Yeah. That was too much. What do we do? Let's go over there. We'll call this burn. Dodge, invert it, and let's start to dodge out this. These right here. Okay, there we go. I'm satisfied. I like it. Maybe I can bring that up a tad bit. Yeah, I like it. I think it looks good. I am happy with it. All right, so the ankle. Alright, so for the ankle, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to copy that area. I'm going to remove that ankle in a smart object. You know what? I do not like this box. Let's put it here. Yep. Perfect. Right underneath my hands. So you can move this here. Click the 3 dots and then pin bar to that position. So now it's only going to be there. It's not going to follow me around. Alright, so I copy, merged, and pasted the ankle, convert it to a smart object. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to convert this into frequency separation to get rid of the ankle and then mask it back in how I want it to be, or how it should be. I mean, the lighting and everything, it's really messing it up. So duplicate, convert, and this FS background. And also I can tell we need some work there. Name this low, filter, noise, median. Let's go one more time. Filter, noise, median. Duplicate that. Rasterize. Low worker. Now create the high. Image, apply. Low, 228, 100, subtract. Convert this to linear light. Oh. Duplicate that. Make a high worker and normal, and we're set. Alright. All that. I literally all that for this. But hey, we gotta do it, right? We gotta do what we gotta do. There it is. I don't think I even need to hit it with the high, but let's just do it. Okay, now I'm gonna save this and it's gonna bring it up here. There we go. I mean, honestly, that looks so much better, even though the ankle's gone. But now it has the definition, but it doesn't have that ring shadow. There we go. But yeah, we just need to soften it. So I'm using a 10% opacity, 30% brush, 30% flow brush right now, and bringing back what we just did with the frequency separation and the smart object. And pretty much, there we go. Yep, I think we're good. Okay, so I do need to fix this left eye. It's okay. I know what it is. So from a distance, you can't see the white on the inside of the eye. For a second, I thought, like, because of her head angle, like the pupil was like here, but it's not, which is actually, that makes her job easier. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy these. I don't want to do it over that. Paste them. However, fill it with black because I do not need my dodging and burning to be overlapping. And with 100%, this is only to pretty much just get the outline. I'm gonna outline where the white should be. Yep. And find these edges, make it more, yep, like that. Perfect. Yep. Alright, and now we can either mess with the opacity oh, so much better. Yep, and my glitch boxes are coming back. Yeah, so much better. I do need to add warmth to it though. So let's go photo filter, use previous layer as a clipping mask. So basically with the dodge layer selected, holding the option key and go to photo filter. This will, and then when you click on use previous layer to create clipping mask, it clips to my dodge layer, so it's only gonna apply the changes to that area only. Now let's go with another level 0 and bump it up a little more, like so. Maybe a little too. And then let's do one color balance. Highlights. Bump it to yellow. Red. And then one last thing. I'm gonna go selective color, neutrals, bump it up, like so, and then I'm gonna group all these together and name this eye, mask it, and then give it depth by adding shadow, and by adding shadow I mean removing what we literally just did. There we go. Boom. Oh my god, look at that. What a night and day difference. Green. That's what it's missing. 50% gray. Forgot to clip it. Go there. Give it some green. Actually, wait a minute. I have green already in my frequency, so I can just copy that and let's paste it here. Nope. There we go. Yep, we are black, and then boom. Let's go white. What is happening? How are you doing this? There we go. Need to add more. There it is. Yep. Made all the difference. Boom. Alright, let's fix the eyebrow. We gotta fill in the eyebrow a little bit. And to do so, we're gonna dodge that burn that. So we can collapse the eye. DNB burn. Where is... Oh, okay. Don't necessarily need that. Oh, no, it helps. Alright. 10%, 10%. And I'm just gonna make the eyebrows fuller. Beautiful. I honestly think we're there. The only other thing I gotta do is liquefy the hair here. It's bumped up a little too much. The arch on the foot, and I think that's pretty much it. Alright, so a liquefy trick. You never want to liquefy the actual image. You don't want to do that, because if you do and you start retouching on that, that's being destructive, and we're not trying to be destructive. So you leave liquefying to the very last step. That way it's non-destructive. So what we're going to do is we're going to Command A to select, make a selection for our whole canvas. Shift Command C to copy merged, and then Command V to paste all our layers. If you want to know you did it correctly, turn the layer on and off. No changes. You're on the money. We're going to convert this into a smart object. And we're going to name this liquefy. Ooh, what in the world just happened? How does that even... What's layer 4? Oh, okay, that's right. Alright, cool. This is why I name or organize your layers. Okay, so now with it a smart object, we're going to do Command Shift X to get into liquefy filter. Before I do this, I'm going to save liquefying and camera raw filter. Those are the two that make Photoshop crash at times. So before you do anything, save. It's happened way too many times. 98% and 99. Okay. So Command Shift X to get into liquefy, and what we're gonna do is medium pressure brush, and instead of basically what you want to do is you want to go not too, like, almost the radius of the bump, and then slowly start bringing it in. You're not doing this. We don't want that. We don't want any distortion anywhere. That looks good. Might be a little too slopey now. So let's give the toes a little depth. Okay, and then the hair. So the hair here slopes up, and that's because that gesture that she's doing with her hand, you kind of like bumped it up, which is fine. That's an easy fix. All we got to do is bring it down and then bump this one up a little bit on this side, and then just give it a little bit of overall, a little bit roundness, not too much, but just a little. And there you have it. Look at that. Before, after. Before, after. Before, after. Okay. That is that. I don't like how this line on the chair slopes up. So I'm gonna fix that because it makes it look like I liquefied when there was no liquefy. But there are certain things that we do need to fix that are actually in existence, so that way people don't think we photoshopped. Straighten the carpet area rug a little bit, and I think we're good. I like it. Right? Okay. So the reason you make it into smart object, now when I turn this off, obviously it's going to revert back to where it was. So let's just say I need to make a change. And I would say probably the biggest change we can do is quickly off the bat. Okay. Let's remove the frequency separation for now. Right? So I need to do a change, but I've already liquefied. It's fine. I turn it off. I do whatever change I need to do. I'm going to do this so it's more drastic. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Command A, select all, Command Shift C, copy merged. I'm going to turn on my liquefy layer. All right. I'm going to go into the smart object. I'm going to paste over my existing layer. I'm going to save now. And what this is going to do is it's going to update my smart object with my liquefy, but with whatever changes I made. And there you go. And if I need to make any changes again, which basically reverts back to where we were. 3, 2, 1, and boom. That's it. Non-destructive. Absolutely non-destructive. This image can be retouched over and over and over again for years to come, as long as the layers stay the way they are. That's it. And it all comes down back to frequency separation. We have all these layers on top of frequency separation, but they're all adjustment layers. Except for the liquefy, they're all adjustment layers. And the angle, which let's name so we don't ask what that is again. But that's it. So thank you if you've made it this far, and if you watched all 3 videos, I thank you. If you have any questions, drop down in the comments. Please like this video, share, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna do a video on actions, on how to create an action, and then I'm gonna do separate quick videos on actions to where you don't have to constantly do the steps for frequency separation. You don't have to constantly do the steps for the healing. You don't have to constantly do the steps for dodging and burning. All of these that I just did, I have actions for literally takes one click of a button and my steps are there. It doesn't automatically do it for me as far as the dodging and burning and all that, but it gets the layer adjustments in there, so I can just go ahead and think about retouching and not think about my values on, was it 2 and 128, or was it 8% median, whatever it is. No, I don't need to worry about that, right? So those will be coming soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something. And yeah, thank you. Until next time.